The concept of betrayal has changed dramatically in recent years. Nowadays, a simple WhatsApp share or a suspicious like on Instagram can reveal much more than seemingly innocent conversations. Statistically, thousands of relationships are destroyed by subtle signals that go unnoticed. The realm of female infidelity has gained complex nuances, where technology has completely transformed the old forms of betrayal. Those who can identify these signs early on are able to preserve their emotional dignity and make smart decisions before suffering a devastating blow. This content will reveal exactly how to recognize the triggers that indicate potential betrayal, offering a detailed map to navigate this delicate terrain without falling into emotional traps. The emotional impact of betrayal is truly devastating for any man. When we talk about infidelity, we are dealing with a deep wound that can completely destroy a person's psychological structure. Just imagine, you discover that someone in whom you placed all your trust, hopes, and expectations has betrayed you. The damage goes far beyond a simple momentary disappointment. Relationship experts indicate that the psychological trauma can be so intense that some people take years to fully recover. It's like an emotional bomb that silently explodes, gradually destroying self-esteem and the ability to trust again. The secret to minimizing this suffering lies in emotional intelligence. We're not talking about being an obsessed detective, but about being attentive to subtle signs that may indicate imminent betrayal. The key is to observe, process information rationally, and make conscious decisions before the damage becomes irreversible. Many men fall into the trap of simply ignoring the first signs, or, on the other extreme, entering a state of total paranoia. Balance is essential. You need to develop a kind of emotional radar that allows you to identify behavioral changes without coming off as a desperate stalker. Technology has added an extra layer of complexity to modern relationships. Today, a simple like on Instagram, a seemingly innocent comment, or a WhatsApp conversation can conceal entire worlds of meaning. It's as if each click, each message, could be a small piece of a puzzle that gradually reveals the truth. The main goal is not to create an environment of permanent distrust, but rather to be prepared to protect your emotional health. Understanding early signs can give you the advantage to make smart decisions before being completely caught by surprise. Remember, knowledge is power. The more you understand about behavioral patterns that might indicate possible betrayal, the better prepared you will be to deal with complex situations. This is not about being paranoid. It's about being strategically aware. Emotional intelligence in this context means balancing your intuition with rational analysis, without falling into traps of destructive thinking or obsessive behavior. It's about preserving your dignity, protecting your mental health, and making decisions that truly serve you well in the long run. It's important to understand that betrayal is not limited to the physical act, but encompasses a complex web of behaviors and emotions that can destroy a couple's trust. Today, infidelity transcends traditional limits. We're not just talking about a kiss or a secret meeting, but emotional and digital connections that can be equally devastating. An intimate conversation on WhatsApp, suggestive comments on social media, or a friendship that crosses the boundaries of professionalism can represent true emotional betrayals. There is a very thin line between healthy suspicion and paranoia. Many men make the mistake of turning a simple suspicion into a scenario of obsessive stalking. The secret lies in maintaining emotional balance and rationality. You need to develop a sensitivity that allows you to perceive subtle changes without falling into a constant state of hysteria. Psychology shows us that behavioral changes often have deep roots. When someone is involved in a betrayal, their brain operates in protection mode, creating defense mechanisms and altering communication and interaction patterns. These transformations are not only external but also internal, directly affecting the dynamics of the relationship. Experts point out that the psychological basis for these changes lies in the internal conflict between guilt and desire. The person who cheats typically develops defensive behaviors, such as increasing secrecy, creating emotional barriers, and modifying their routine to hide any evidence of infidelity. It is essential to understand that every relationship is unique, and there is no magic formula for detecting betrayals. Intuition combined with careful observation can be your best ally. Pay attention to details, to the nuances of conversations, to gestures, and to unexplained absences. Interestingly, technology has brought both facilitators and revealers of betrayals. The same apps that allow for secret contacts also leave digital traces. A strategic like, a history of conversations, a mysterious profile can be windows into hidden truths. The objective is not to create a permanent atmosphere of distrust, but to develop a deeper understanding of behavioral patterns. Knowledge and emotional intelligence are your greatest weapons for navigating emotionally complex terrains and making decisions that protect your mental and emotional health. Now let's discuss the 7 main signs that may reveal a potential female. Betrayal. The expert cautions that these changes do not always indicate infidelity, but they are essential indicators to keep an eye on. The first significant sign is changes in routine. When a woman starts exhibiting completely different behaviors from her usual ones, this may indicate something suspicious. Just imagine. Suddenly, she starts going out much more, arriving at different times, making strange excuses to be absent, and being extremely vague about her commitments. In the digital realm, behavioral changes can be glaring. Her phone is always on silent, the screen is face down, passwords are frequently changed, and there's excessive care not to leave messages open. These are signs that something may be happening behind the technological curtains. Emotional distance is another crucial indicator. When a partner begins to create invisible barriers, reducing intimate conversations, avoiding physical contact, and appearing emotionally absent, this may signal that her heart is no longer fully present in the relationship. Changes in social life reveal a lot as well. If she starts making new friends without introducing them to you, has mysterious commitments, and avoids bringing you into her social circle, there may be something happening behind the scenes. In intimacy, transformations are evident. A sudden decrease in sexual interest, different behaviors during sex, or an unusual coldness may indicate that something is wrong. The expert emphasizes that this does not always mean betrayal, but certainly represents an important alert. Excessive secrecy is another point of concern. When your partner begins to create elaborate stories, avoids details about her routine, and becomes extremely defensive when questioned, this may signal that something is being hidden. Changes in appearance and clothing can reveal much. A radical transformation in her look, investments in new clothes, use of different perfumes, and an excessive concern with her appearance may indicate that she is trying to attract someone else's attention. The trick is to observe these signs in a balanced way. It's not about being paranoid, but about being attentive to behaviors that stray from the normal patterns of the relationship. Emotional intelligence is fundamental to navigate these turbulent waters without losing control and rationality. When we talk about challenges in relationships, confronting possible betrayals without seeming accusatory is a real challenge. The expert recommends some smart strategies to navigate this delicate situation. The first important tip is to maintain absolute calm. Gathering evidence does not mean turning into an obsessed detective or invading privacy. It is about observing behaviors with emotional intelligence and a sense of proportion. Assertive communication techniques are essential at this moment. Instead of making direct accusations, which may trigger defensiveness, it's best to create an environment for honest dialogue. By using non-confrontational language, you can open the door for frank discussions about feelings and expectations in the relationship. An interesting strategy is to use open-ended questions that allow her to express herself freely. Questions like, "How have you been feeling lately?" or "I noticed that something is different. Do you want to talk?" can reveal much more than direct interrogations. In collecting evidence, the secret lies in discretion. It does not mean invading phones or conducting secret investigations, but paying attention to behavioral patterns. Observe subtle changes, inconsistencies in narratives, and behaviors that deviate from normality. The expert warns that communication needs to be transparent but not invasive. Creating an environment of trust where both feel safe to express vulnerabilities is essential. It's not about judging, but about understanding. Emotional intelligence recommends mentally documenting these observations without creating fanciful narratives. Stay objective, avoiding hasty conclusions that could destroy the relationship without concrete reasons. An important detail: not every change means betrayal. Professional stress, personal problems, or emotional issues can cause behavioral changes. Hence, empathy and dialogue will always be your best tools. If the evidence is consistent, prepare yourself emotionally for a serious conversation. Choose the right moment and place, avoid accusations, and be ready to hear her side of the story. True maturity lies in processing information with balance. The key is always to preserve your dignity, regardless of the outcome. Do not allow yourself to be consumed by destructive feelings. Stay focused on your emotional well-being and on the decisions that truly represent you. Let's address the most common mistakes men make when suspecting a potential betrayal. The first and most serious mistake is making premature confrontations without solid evidence. Imagine the situation. You create an entire narrative in your head and move on to a direct accusation without concrete elements. The result? Just an emotional explosion that can completely destroy trust in the relationship. Many men fall into the trap of excessively invading their partner's privacy. Searching through phones, checking social media histories, or installing tracking apps are strategies that may seem smart at the time, but actually represent a grave violation of boundaries. This invasive behavior is not only unethical, but may also be considered harassment in some cases. Controlling behavior emerges as another dangerous mistake. Starting to limit your partner's freedom, asking constant questions about her routine, controlling her every move, or trying to isolate her are signs of deep insecurity. Such attitudes resolve absolutely nothing and only showcase emotional fragility. Experts point out that excessive insecurity acts as fuel for problems in the relationship. When you begin to act obsessively, you practically push the partner away, creating a toxic environment that may even encourage betrayal. True emotional intelligence lies in maintaining balance. Observe, but do not stalk. Question, but do not accuse. Communicate honestly, showing vulnerability without appearing desperate. It is vital to create a trusting environment where both feel safe to express feelings and worries. An important detail: not every behavioral change means betrayal. Professional stress, personal issues, or emotional concerns can generate daily alterations. Therefore, empathy and dialogue will always be your main tools. The key is to preserve your dignity and emotional health. Do not let distrust consume your energy. Stay rational, observe the signs without creating elaborate stories in your mind. If the evidence is consistent, prepare for an open conversation, using assertive communication and maintaining mutual respect. The goal is not to be naive, but also cannot be that of an obsessed investigator. Find the balance point between being attentive and maintaining trust in the relationship. Your inner peace and emotional maturity are far more important than any momentary suspicion. When we talk about relationships, every story is unique and challenges can vary drastically. The expert highlights that there is no one-size-fits-all model for dealing with different types of relationships, but some strategies can be fundamental. An important detail is to understand that young couples have completely different relationship dynamics than longer-term ones. In the beginning, the connection is more intense, and signs of distancing appear more subtly. In mature relationships, behavioral changes tend to be more evident and complex. The length of the relationship also directly influences how signs of potential infidelity manifest. In short-term relationships, people tend to be less cautious, and indications may emerge more quickly. In long-established partnerships, defense and concealment mechanisms are often more sophisticated. The couple's profile also determines how these transformations occur. More communicative couples are likely to have less space for secrets, while those with less dialogue may create fertile ground for misunderstandings and distrust. Professionals recommend adjusting the approach depending on the specific dynamics of the relationship. There is no universal rule that works for all. Couples. The key is in the sensitivity to notice the unique signs of each story. Another important aspect is to consider the emotional and professional context of the moment. Work stress, family problems, or personal matters can create behavioral changes that do not necessarily indicate betrayal. The expert emphasizes the importance of maintaining mental flexibility. Each relationship has its own language, its particular codes. What might seem like a sign of infidelity in one couple could simply be a phase of adjustment in another. Emotional intelligence suggests a personalized approach. Observe the specific patterns of your relationship. Be attentive to emotional nuances and communicate honestly and respectfully. A true connection surpasses any momentary suspicion. Stay focused on what truly matters: mutual respect, companionship, and the bond that you have built together. When discussing emotional health during a delicate investigation like suspicion of betrayal, the expert highlights the importance of self-preservation as a fundamental strategy. The first step is to understand that you cannot allow distrust to consume all your mental and emotional energy. Maintaining clarity in difficult moments requires deep internal work. It is essential to create psychological protection mechanisms that prevent destructive and obsessive thoughts from developing. The natural tendency is to enter a state of constant anxiety, but this only harms your mental health. An intelligent strategy is to establish clear emotional boundaries. This means not allowing the situation to take over all your thoughts. Reserve specific moments to process your reflections without transforming it into an endless cycle of mental speculations. Ideally, set aside time for rational analysis of the facts without letting doubt completely dominate your life. Self-care becomes crucial at this moment. Investing in activities that bring well-being and emotional balance can make all the difference. Engaging in physical exercise, meditating, talking with close friends, and maintaining a healthy routine are elements that help maintain mental stability. Bolstering self-esteem is another fundamental point. Many people, when suspecting betrayal, begin to feel inadequate or inferior. It is essential to remember that a partner's potential infidelity does not diminish your worth as a person. Invest in your personal growth, seek therapy if necessary, and work on your self-image. The expert recommends creating a network of emotional support. This doesn't mean exposing all details, but having trustworthy people who can offer support and different perspectives. Close friends, family, or even a psychology professional can help navigate this delicate moment. Another important tip is to maintain focus on yourself. Do not become an obsessive investigator who wastes all your energy trying to uncover every detail. Your inner peace is far more valuable than any momentary evidence. Emotional intelligence suggests a balanced approach. Observe, reflect, but do not allow the situation to destroy your essence. Stay connected to your personal goals. Continue investing in your development and remember that you have worth independent of any relationship. The secret lies in turning this challenging moment into an opportunity for personal growth. Every difficult situation offers us important lessons about ourselves, our emotional needs, and our boundaries. In conclusion, this guide on infidelity reiterates the main signs that may indicate possible betrayal in a relationship. The expert emphasizes that recognizing these elements early on can be decisive in preserving emotional health and the integrity of the couple. Conscious and balanced action represents the smartest path for dealing with suspicions. It is not about acting with paranoia or aggression, but with maturity and discernment. Each strange behavior needs to be analyzed calmly, without hasty judgments. The encouragement here is clear. Seek professional help whenever you feel lost or emotionally fragile. A therapist can provide valuable perspectives and strategies for navigating this delicate moment, helping to protect your mental health. Modern relationships demand transparent and honest communication. Thus, the final invitation is to share experiences, learning, and doubts. The exchange of information can be extremely beneficial for those going through similar situations.